Welcome to the first weekend update from Death Curse Society, a weekly rundown of all the horror news worth talking about. I'm Red Crank, and here's the news. Our top story this week: after the surprising critical success of Saw X last September, another chapter in the Saw franchise has already been announced by Lionsgate earlier this week. On Monday, the announcement first dropped on the Saw Instagram account with a somewhat cryptic image, unless you're well-versed in Roman numerals. The game continues 9/27/24. See? 9/27/24. But do they even teach this stuff in school anymore? And that's all we know for now, but we're excited to see what direction the franchise decides to go after breathing a little fresh air into the series after its latest entry. As always, when it comes to Saw,
I want to play a game.
Despite the recent rumors that it was having a hard time finding a distributor, Terrifier 3 is set to slash into theaters October 25th, 2024, with Lauren Levera returning as Sienna. But we learned from Deadline on Tuesday that she will be joined on screen by Elliot Fulham as little brother Jonathan, Samantha Scafidi as Victoria, and even Chris Jericho reprising his role from the very end of Terrifier 2. Writer-director Damien Leone was quoted as saying, "This one is going to pick up where Part 2 left off, in the insane asylum, so you're going to see what transpires there, what mayhem unfolds, because seeing how Art and Victoria ended up is so insane, and seeing how they get out of that situation and what happens next is going to be really wild. So we have to get Chris back in there and see how he becomes part of that situation." So Fozzie fans have a reason to be excited.
You ever hear why zombies don't eat clowns? 'Cause they taste funny. Ah, waka waka!
Wait, not the right Fozzie? My bad. Leone confirmed that the money is in place and that the price tag of Terrifier 3 will be a couple of million. Additionally, he teased a project that is in pre-production with Sam Raimi's Ghost House Pictures, as well as the potential opportunity to write and direct a mystery exploitation thriller revenge 80s reboot that would be a dream come true. Feel free to speculate in the comments about what that film might be. In even more Terrifier news, Art the Clown is hoping to be stalking victims in a new medium soon, as Leone states his desire to see a video game based on the world of Terrifier. According to a recent interview with Screen Rant, Leone said, "I would love a video game. We were just playing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game a couple of nights ago, and that was so cool. Art would lend himself so well to a video game like that. You could be trapped in the warehouse surviving from the original Terrifier, or you could be in the Terrifier haunted attraction from the end of Terrifier 2. It could be so much fun." The topic of a video game came up during a question about Art haunting a live attraction, such as Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, which Leone says has also been discussed. He adds, "That's a dream. I would love to have a house in Halloween Horror Nights. There's already been talks of it over the years, so hopefully that becomes a reality because there's just so many cool environments, and now we're adding all these cool characters besides Art the Clown. These other creepy characters that you could really put in there. It could be a really cool experience. With a little luck, perhaps Art the Clown could be a featured attraction at Universal this Halloween, just in time for the release of Terrifier 3, as well as on your favorite game console in the near future." After a long hiatus, partially because of the writers and actors' strikes over the summer, Stranger Things Season 5 is slated to begin filming in just a few weeks. According to a report in Deadline, the fifth and final season of the hit Netflix series has set a target start date of January 8th and will also welcome Linda Hamilton to the cast, as well as Prey director Dan Trachtenberg behind the camera for at least one episode. Even though this has been confirmed to be the final season of the series, creators the Duffer Brothers have teased there may still be more on the way, especially since an animated series has already been confirmed. The Duffer Brothers say, "There are still many more exciting stories to tell within the world of Stranger Things. New mysteries, new adventures, new unexpected heroes." With production set to begin early next year, it will likely be 2025 before we see the full final season dropped on the streamer. So cool your jets, fans. Earlier this year, rumors began swirling around a possible legacy sequel to the 1997 teen slasher I Know What You Did Last Summer. But besides the news that Jennifer Caton Robinson had signed with Sony to direct, while Leah McKendrick was hired to pen a script, more substantial news had been slim, until last week. During a recent episode of the podcast Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, Jennifer Love Hewitt expressed her ultimate desire to return as Julie James one more time. She was quoted as saying, "I loved making those movies. I'd do it for sure." As much as we'd love to see J-Love return to the world of horror, we'll wait for more concrete news before getting too excited. If she does return, hopefully they treat her legacy character better than many that have returned in recent years. Yes, I'm looking at you, David Gordon Green. We'd love to see it, and have also been wondering, like many of you,
what are you waiting for, huh?
There's so much news that came out this week that we can barely cover it all. So, here's a rundown of some other headlines that hit the internet this week. Even though other recent iterations of The Lost Boys have failed to take flight, Deadline reports that actors Patrick Wilson and Marcus Chait are producing an official musical based on the 1987 vampire classic. The musical will be produced by special arrangement with Warner Brothers Theater Ventures, and we will be following the story for updates as it progresses. William Brent Bell confirmed during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that a third film in the Orphan series is currently being developed. Bell says, "Now that we've gone another direction with the second one, the franchise's rulebook has been opened up to where anything is possible. Knowing where we are in the process already, I'm extremely excited about the twists and turns that we have in store." So it sounds like Esther will return for more mayhem, perhaps as early as 2025. According to Entertainment Weekly, famed eclectic filmmaker John Waters is set to return to the Child's Play universe as the reclusive creator of Good Guy Dolls, Wendell Wilkins, in the second half of the third season of Chucky. Waters previously played tabloid photographer Pete Peters in 2004's Seed of Chucky, but series creator Don Mancini always seems to find creative ways to include past cast members to the television series. Season 3 of Chucky returns to Sci-Fi and USA Network sometime next year. After the success of The Invisible Man in 2020, Lee Winnell is returning to the director's chair for an updated version of Wolfman for Universal and Blumhouse. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Christopher Abbott replaces Ryan Gosling in the titular role, which will be released in theaters October 25th, 2024. Mick Garris bid farewell to the Postmortem podcast by trying to keep things on the QT. And by QT, I mean with one final one-on-one interview with Quentin Tarantino himself. The accomplished director sat down with Garris for the final episode of the long-running horror podcast to discuss his early life and career. We'll miss you, Mick, and wish you the best for whatever you do in the future. Finally, the DCS would like to wish a heartfelt congratulations to Full Moon Features founder Charles Band and his new bride, Robyn Sidney. The two were wed last weekend at the historic Casa del Mar Hotel in Santa Monica, California. Band, 71, and Sidney, 39, hosted family and friends at an event that Sidney described as having, quote, a Magic Castle old Hollywood concert feel with a touch of a circus. We wouldn't have expected anything less. Wait a minute. 71 minus 39. Who cares?
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
That's it for the first edition of Weekend Update. Hopefully we'll see you again next week with more news from the horror realm. Until then, join us live for Monday Maniacs at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, where this week we dive into a topic that has been boiling under our skin for a while, the best and worst of Blumhouse. We will each rank our top 10 and bottom 5 of all the Blumhouse horror films and debate which is the best and which, Exorcist believer, is the absolute worst. Thanks for watching. DCS out. Woo!